Hey everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to this feminine and hypergamous platform, and welcome back to this channel. And if you are new here, and more importantly, if you are new to hypergamy, ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers, welcome. So I wanted to share my continued thoughts and to share a bit of commentary about this most recent Steve Harvey clapback. And more importantly, I wanted to speak on the ongoing harassment of one of our hypergamous queens, Mrs. Marjorie Harvey, because I think it is very important for hypergamous women and for aspiring hypergamous women to understand both the spiritual and the psychological warfare that will often come with breaking generational curses and breaking generational expectations, and the psychological and the spiritual warfare that will often come with being a provided for woman, particularly when you are a Black woman, or in Marjorie's case, a woman of color who is openly being loved on, who is openly being exalted, and who is being provided for on a high level. Now, most hypergamous women, regardless of race or culture, will have the benefit of moving in silence, because most women who are being comfortably provided for and who are accustomed to it are not making announcements about it. And no, they are not on TikTok giving performative, minute by minute specific accounts of their days of rest and leisure and feminine hobbies, nor will they share with you or give you details on the amount of their husband's bag, because for the most part, hypergamous showiness is considered tacky, try hard, and uncouth behavior that can backfire. Hypergamous women, for the most part, have always been known to move in silence, because as I have stated from the beginning of this platform, and you can go argue with your crunchy wigs, but your greatest enemy in hypergamy will always be another woman who has a chip on her shoulder, as women are competitive and comparative in the dating and marriage marketplace when it comes to provision, and in many cases will try to emulate and copycat the lifestyle of women who are living the soft life, because all women are wired to desire rest, they are wired to desire feminine worship, and they are wired to desire having love and having someone to provide, to protect, and to care. Now, there isn't anything wrong with a woman wanting the soft life. There isn't anything wrong with a woman being inspired by another hypergamous woman. But unfortunately, when many women cannot gain access to a man's provision, the hypergamous game can get pretty vicious and pretty nasty by both vile women and by vile men who are not happy with their own personal paths. And unfortunately, with Miss Marjorie Harvey, and to a lesser degree, her daughter Lori, the Dawn Harvey, which I will get into much later on in the video, these two will experience an inordinate amount of attacks and microscopic scrutiny, because unfortunately, Steve Harvey's rich bag is unfortunately connected to fame. And we all know that the game of fame comes with a lot of nasty work, which is why celebrities will always need security, because there are a lot of mentally unstable people in this world. So for those of you who are not aware, Mrs. Marjorie Harvey has been the ongoing subject of wagging tongues, specifically on the Black side of YouTube, as the gossip and the elevation of the petty and the speculation about her past relationships and how she came to marry her husband have always been in question. Now, this woman has never openly or candidly spoken about or given an interview about her past. But one thing about Black folk when it comes to gossip, we will elevate the petty and we will turn a nothing burger into a prime rib steak. Now, whether Marjorie's past is sketchy or not really doesn't matter, because all that matters is that Steve Harvey is her now husband, and all that matters now is that her husband upholds his duty to provide, to protect, to lead, and whenever necessary, to correct his mistakes. And people do tend to forget that there are two sides to every story. But unfortunately, when it comes to the internet, the lies will always taste better and will always spread faster than the truth. Now, from a hypergamous perspective, and for my aspiring hypergamous girlies, please soak up all of this game. Mrs. Marjorie's past and how she's come to be with her husband in the end doesn't really matter. What matters is that she is his current wife, and that this woman has not done anything to warrant being 24/7 picked apart. She hasn't drowned any puppies. She hasn't pushed anyone's grandmother down a flight of stairs. And overall, she hasn't specifically done anything hateful that would warrant the defamation, the devaluation, and the continual dragging of her reputation. But when you are openly being exalted and cared for on a higher level, the attacks will come, and in many ways will come from surprising places, from family, from your siblings, from your neighbors, and they will certainly come from the insecure manosphere trolls and from the male identified manosphere sympathizers. But the beautiful thing about being attacked is that the attacks will either weaken you or make you stronger. Now, Mr. Steve Harvey, who has defended his wife countless times in the past, most recently decided to come to his wife's defense, as once again, many black folks seem to be feverishly hell-bent on attacking this man's marriage in some kind of capacity, or they seem to be hell-bent on raising this 66-year-old man's blood pressure. But for those of you who have been living under a rock, take a listen, and I will be back with the rest of my commentary.
The woman I married is a good woman. She the best thing ever happened to me. She's God-fearing. She's loyal. She's faithful. And she's a kind and loving person. I don't care what nobody says. And y'all quit talking about she was in my other marriage and ruined it. She didn't. She was nowhere around that. My marriage, I got divorced in 2005. My marriage was over when the Kings of Comedy was out. Y'all ain't know that though, did you? It was over then. It wasn't worth a quarter then. It took us this long to get to the divorce. That's when the official paperwork came out. But in 2005, let me hip you to something. I had nothing. I lost the radio show we were on in LA on March 23rd, and I lost the only TV show I had May 10th. May 23rd, I lost the radio show, and May 10th, I lost the TV show. Steve Harvey had no money. Got with Marjorie again, New Year's Eve, met her, talked to her. She was with her kids in Hawaii. We got together in 2006. We had nothing. She didn't marry into no lap of riches. I had nothing. When I asked her to marry me at the end of 2006, and then she said she wanted to get married in 2007, I told her too soon. I got to get some stuff together. She said, what? I said, baby, I ain't really got nothing. I'm trying to build. She said, I'm going to get in there and build with you. We got married in 2007. Do you know what I was doing in 2007? Nothing. We had four stations in 2005. 4. We built this. All of us built this. We had 4 stations. We turned this into something. But that woman got down in that foxhole with me and turned this into something. In 2007, we got married. In 2008, we found out that somebody had stolen 7 years of my tax returns. I ain't gonna mention no names. And we owed the government $22 million and we in debt. But then guess what? She stayed with me in that. Then guess what? In 2009, I got Family Feud. In 2009, the book came out. In 2012, the talk show came out. I'm telling you, this woman got in the hole and built this with me. She didn't steal nothing. And I'm tired of y'all talking about my girl, because my girl is one of the best women I've ever met. And why you black ass people out there got these blogs like you just gonna destroy somebody, I don't really know what that's about. But don't worry about it, because it ain't working. Because all we are now, we are a tighter two-handed circle. Thank you for doing that. And you're not going to split us up. And we're not going nowhere. And she is none of what you said she is. And she the best chick I know. Now I'm defending her.
Now, Steve went on this high-key baby rant in defense of his marriage and his wife, and basically told his haters to hang it up flat screen, to go drink a tall glass of mind your business, and that they can go choke, and rightfully so. He loves his wife and his wife, Marjorie, whether you like it or not, and I know this bothers many women, but his wife is his dream girl, and their marriage really isn't up for discussion. Now, there are more than a few lessons to learn from this hypergamous case study. One, when a man loves you, ladies, and when you are his dream girl, this is what it will actionably look like. He will give you the shirt off of his back, and he will love you, flaws, imperfections, and all, and more importantly, he will go to war for you and the family that you've created together. And there truly isn't anything that any of the wagging tongues could say that could make your man love you less. Another lesson to learn is that in many ways, Marjorie Harvey is being attacked because of what her beautiful daughter, Lori Harvey, represents. Lori is a super rare black socialite. She is a benefactor of her stepfather's money bag. She is an unapologetic beauty. She has her own swimwear line and her own beauty line. Her self-care is top notch. She doesn't respond to the hate from the dusty men who will never have a chance at meeting her, or the hateful, dried up, jealous aunties. And more importantly, she minds the business that pays her. And a lot of that feminine swagger and that feminine confidence is a byproduct of having a mother like Marjorie Harvey. So, in a lot of passive aggressive ways, attacking Marjorie Harvey is the equivalent of attacking Lori Harvey. Another case study lesson to learn is that people, whether driven by jealousy, envy, or insecurity, will go through great lengths to make women who are being protected and provided for feel unworthy of that provision. And we talk about that in my finishing school, The New Feminine, all the time, as being attacked for having a provider man is a very common experience with hypergamous women. And the bad mouthing is a byproduct that will come with the territory, especially when you cannot trauma bond with other women over struggle love. Another lesson to learn is that Mrs. Marjorie Harvey did her hypergamous homework by marrying up, which is what a woman will do when she sees and treats herself like the prize. She doesn't respond to clout chasing ex-husbands who are fresh out of jail, nor does she respond to the people who are outside of her marriage. She is an unapologetic, well-watered wife. She invests in her self-care with her husband's money, and she understands her role in using her feminine divine to inspire her husband's masculine divine. And lastly, and this is a very important lesson to learn for my younger hypergamous girlies who are tuning in, people are always going to test you to see if you need their approval. And ladies, you will always fail at the game of hypergamy if you are a people pleaser, because hypergamous women are not people pleasers. And this is why I tell women to make their anger expensive. And this lesson is one of my most important self-esteem raising videos that you should check out. Because as a woman, it is your duty to protect your femininity. It is your duty to protect your fragileness. It is your duty to protect your softness. It is your duty to protect your mental health. And more importantly, it is your duty to protect your peace, whether it be with boundaries or with the Blockiana button, because psychological and spiritual warfare are real. Haters, more than anything, want power. They want decision-making power. But it is your job as a hypergamous woman to make sure that the haters' access to you is denied. We are unfortunately living in a time where people are actively and aggressively trying to ruin people's lives for clicks and for likes. Just look at what is happening with Logan Paul and his fiancée, Nina Agdal. The attacks on this couple have been relentless, pretty vicious, and super, super nasty, all because this man got on bended knee for the woman that he wants to be with. So the entitlement to ruin people's lives is at an all-time high. Mrs. Nina even had to file a restraining order against the MMA fighter, Dylan Dennis, because that is how far the entitlement and the intent to destroy has become. And the last important lesson to learn is that whether you have a past or not, always be the one to give yourself grace first, even when the world deems you to be unworthy. And yes, there are nasty rumors about Marjorie's past, but the truth is everybody has a past. But when it comes to your self-love and your self-acceptance, can't nobody forgive you before you forgive yourself first. But unfortunately with folk, and this is especially true with many black folks, not all, black folks have a nasty habit of trying to hold people hostage to their mistakes and to what they did yesterday and 30 years ago, which is why it is so important as a feminine woman to learn how to give yourself grace, because when you can give yourself grace for making a mistake or for being flawed or for making a decision out of self-hate or hunger or desperation, when you can give yourself grace, ladies, you won't need permission to exist, and you most certainly will not have to do a jig or a tap dance to prove yourself to the bullies who won't ever matter. Overall, it will always make the people who are on the outside looking in very uncomfortable when a woman isn't drowning in struggle, love, or trauma, because a well-watered wife will always be a threat to those in our community who are much more comfortable when they can get a woman to level down and to settle in deadbeat dust. So that is all that I have to say on this for now. And to get this conversation started, ladies, have you ever been attacked for being provided for? Comment below. Did Steve Harvey make matters worse by coming to the defense of his wife? And finally, what is the most important lesson that you've learned on your hypergamous journey so far? And as always, I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. And I thank you for subscribing. And if you know of someone who can benefit from this video, please like and please share if you care. And please stay tuned for more case study videos to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.